What is up? Welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to go from this to this. Stay tuned. I'll make this as simple as I possibly can. What's up? This is GM, and before I start, I want to tell you about TubeBuddy. In case you don't know, TubeBuddy is a free website that will help you manage and grow your YouTube channel. Thanks to them, some of my videos even show up as top results. Want to give them a try? Check the description below for the link. Alright, so right here we have STARSPACE's gaming chair. As you can see, I need to assemble it. I like to get nice and organized before starting on such an endeavor. You know, this can take a while for some people. It can be a little quicker for others, but I will do my best to make this as simple as possible. I will go ahead and zoom in a little bit on the different pieces we have here. So right over here we have the wheels. We got the middle piece that's kind of like lets you go up and down. We got some of the tools, the nails. We've got the armrests and some of the other pieces that go on the bottom, the wheel, the spot where the wheels will attach. And then over here we have the seat and the back piece. And on the side I have the box. I suggest holding onto the box till the end because there's quite a bit of trash that you're gonna end up having to throw away. In fact, I'll bring over the box and show you real quick. Here's just some of the trash that, you know, as you're kind of opening everything up, you know, you're gonna need to toss it somewhere. And I like to do it in the box. So let me go ahead and show you the instructions real quick. Hopefully you'll be able to see this okay. If yours for some reason didn't come with instructions or maybe something happened to them, I suggest you go ahead and pause real quick. Let me see if I can focus on this. Go ahead and pause and read through this real quick, honestly. Right here we just have the assembly guide, package list, and the assembly instructions. And then over here we have instructions for use, safety and maintenance, safety information, and the warranty information. So this one is the English side, and I will go ahead and show these other ones so you can pause and read if needed. Hopefully you'll be able to read it okay. But yeah, let me go ahead and just scroll through the rest of this, just in case for those of you who may end up needing it. And the last bit right here. So the only part that we're going to be focusing on today is this part, the assembly. I'm going to try to make this, again, as simple as I possibly can. It looks like it'll be simple enough. I've had to assemble 2 other gaming chairs before, and they did take quite a while. I will be timing myself, and I will put at the end about how long it took me to complete this entire assembly. Keep in mind, this is for the BTX-032 model, so if you have one of the other STARSPACE gaming chairs, you know, make sure you have the correct model for this assembly, because, you know, this obviously won't work for certain gaming chairs because they're all going to be built slightly differently. But anyways, yeah, first off, I want you to not follow along with me on the first go. First go, I want you to just watch this whole video one time through and make sure that, you know, what I'm doing makes sense. Make sure you have all the pieces. Make sure, you know, you understand what we're going to be doing. All right, because I have seen people comment before. It's like, you know, oh, I wish I had seen this one like at least once before beginning and all that, because I realized, oh, I didn't have this or maybe that. So, you know, probably a good idea to start off by just watching it one time through and kind of mimicking the maneuvers without necessarily assembling. But if you feel pretty confident about being able to assemble it on the first time through and that you have all the pieces, then by all means go ahead. First thing I would recommend doing as well, or I guess second thing, is making sure you have all the pieces and you put them all kind of laid out so it'll be easy to find and follow along on the instructions. Go ahead and open up the packages for this because this wasn't a package. And this I'm gonna open as needed because I don't want to, you know, lose any of the screws and make them fall all over the place. But I will probably be opening them soon. And also when you do open it, I suggest you keep the back cardboard or take a picture before you do, or, you know, just look at this again. I'll zoom in a little bit more so you have a better look at what it says, because the numbers and the pieces might come in handy later on. So yeah, if you do happen to accidentally rip it off or something, you can just look at this video for reference or take a picture beforehand. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. This is where I'm going to begin my own timer on seeing about how long this will end up taking. All right, so let's take a look at step 1. So for step 1, you want to make sure you go ahead and grab the parts and pieces that you need. So for part 1, we need the star base, which is this part right here. And it also wants you to get the base cover, which mine was already attached. All right, so Remember how I told you this might be connected already? So to start off, you're gonna have to take this off if it is already connected on yours. Just be a little gentle with it. It comes off pretty easily. And just set this to the side because you're gonna wanna put this on after you put on all those legs. You need 5 of the base legs. And then you're gonna wanna also come all the way over to wherever you're keeping your bolts and all that. Let's take a quick look here. And you're gonna want 10 of the M6 bolts, 15 millimeters. So that is gonna be the one that's located in the upper left of this package. I've already opened them up and put them here. And 10 of those means pretty much all of those. And then you're gonna also want your wrench. So then you're gonna want to grab the star piece, all right? Flip it upside down to where the holes are facing up, and then put in the legs so that the holes kind of align. Might take a little bit of effort to get it on. If it doesn't fit on one, just go to a different. That's what I usually do. So here you go. And align the holes. You can try another one. If it's not fitting though, like I said, just move on to a different one and see if another piece might fit onto the other. But yeah, let's just put on this one, holes aligned. You want it to kind of be facing like this, where it's curving up towards you. And then you're gonna wanna put in 2 of the M6s. So you wanna align those holes. Oop. And then you're just gonna wanna put them all the way through with the wrench. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here and screw them in. And that way you don't have to watch me struggling over here just to screw in these little screws. All right, so give me a moment for that. Quick info, if you're struggling to get in the second screw because there's a lot of tension on it, what you might want to do is loosen the other one a little bit. So that way it's kind of floppy a little bit, you know, you can feel a little bit of movement on this. And then screw this one in a little bit more, the one that's sticking out a little bit. And it should make it a little bit easier now. And you won't have to put in nearly as much effort. And then once they're both about the same distance in, you know, just screw them each in one at a time. You know, you don't need to tighten one all the way at the beginning. It'll make this a little bit easier. This is just an issue that I've had in the past when assembling things, is where one screw won't fit too well then. So let me go ahead and tighten these now. And I suggest you don't tighten them too hard, because if you mess up or something and you need to undo something, you know, it might be too much of a pain. So tighten them a decent amount, but make sure you're not doing it so much that you can't loosen them if needed later on. All right, so I've gone ahead and already put in 2 of these, and I wanted to show you. So this one is actually pretty hard to get in. As you can see, if you're struggling like me, what you should probably try doing is just twisting, and then it should fit. It might still take a little bit of effort, but I found just twisting it on will get it on pretty, not easy necessarily, but it'll definitely be a lot easier than just trying to push it straight in. All right, so I finished putting on all 5 of the legs, and now we're gonna put on the cap on top. So for this, there might be a better way to do it, but I'm just gonna kind of wiggle it on, because as you can see, it's kind of grabbing on the side. So it might be easier if you put this on the ground, but we're gonna see if I can just struggle and get it on. Let's see how long it takes me to struggle on this. All right, there we go. The cap is on. Looks pretty nice so far. So far, the first step was nice and quick to do. I'm really happy about that at least, but let's go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, so I'm gonna split up part 2 or step 2 into multiple parts. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is get the piece you just finished building, the star base, and you're gonna come over here and grab the wheels. We're gonna be attaching all of the wheels now to this. It's really simple. You're gonna see here, you just pretty much push them right into the star base. All right, so you're gonna see for this next part, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the ground. You're definitely gonna wanna put this on the ground because it's gonna be a lot harder otherwise. And let me go ahead and lower my camera too, just so you get a good angle to view it from. All right, and you're just gonna press the wheels into the star base itself. It's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, perhaps. I know I've tried this in the past for other products, and it can be pretty hard to get these wheels in. There we go. That was a struggle. You're gonna have to do that for all of them. You know, like I said, it will be kind of a struggle, but you just gotta push them in. Don't worry, you're not gonna break anything, except maybe your floor. JK, that's probably not gonna happen. But you know, just be ready to put a decent amount of force to get in all of these wheels. All right, so we just got all the wheels in. One thing that might help if you're struggling to get them in is make sure you, go and lift this up a bit. Make sure you align this rod in the middle that I was pushing in as, would it be parallel to the opening? Because the straighter it is going in, the easier it'll be. If it's even at a slight angle, you're gonna find a lot more resistance trying to get it in. But yeah, that made it a lot easier though. Now that we have it on wheels, it'll be easier to move around. But we're not done with step 2 yet. So step 2 also requires that we get the lift, which is this piece right over here. So we're gonna go ahead and grab the lift as well as the lift cover. Let me go and raise this back up just a little bit. And we're gonna go ahead and insert that into the base now. So let me go ahead and grab that real quick. Let's get the lift piece in our hand. We're gonna wanna place it like this. So you want this piece to be on the bottom. We want the silver metal white piece on top when we put it in. So let me go and bring this a little bit closer. All right, so just go ahead and put it in. And it should be good for there. You don't need to twist it or anything as far as I know. You just have to put it into the center hole. Keep in mind, you can't pull it back out though. It might take a little bit of struggle, but you can take it out. I've taken it out already once. Okay, so now we're gonna put in the lift cover. Keep in mind that this can fall out, and I'm gonna go and show you that it falls out very easily on one end. So you wanna make sure that when you put it in, you're putting it into where it's not falling out pretty much, so that you can hold it like this. So you want the bigger end going down, the smaller end going on the top. And I believe that should be good. I just want to quickly show you what we have done so far. We've gotten the wheels on, we've put on each of the legs onto the center base. We have the pretty much cap or whatever you want to call it on that. And then we have these plastic pieces onto the center lift. Keep in mind this can still come off like this. Let me go and raise this a bit. So you want to make sure you're not messing with it too much. Just leave it for now. Once we put on the base, it won't be, able to come off. So don't worry about that for now. That will be solved in the next step. All right, so this next part, you're gonna wanna make sure you're listening very carefully. So first you wanna get the seat, okay? This is the bottom piece. You can tell that's the bottom piece because the top piece will have a little hole in the top and it has like the kind of headrest piece. So yeah, and then the bottom piece is just the other big piece that is here. I'm gonna flip it over for you to see. But yeah, that's the bottom piece or the seat piece. And what you're gonna wanna do is, and I suggest you follow this as closely as possible, is you want to place this down and you want to have the tag that says front going away from you pretty much, okay? You want to be able to read the word front. If for some reason yours is stitched on differently than mine, I'll show you again. This is what it currently looks like. So we've got these 3 stitch lines closer to the bottom, one big kind of U-ish one near the front of it. So this would be the front end. So if you've got it like this right now, just flip it over and bam. So this is honestly the easy way is just, again, says the word front and you want that away. But in case for some reason yours doesn't say that, that's how you'll figure it out. Then the next thing you want to do is you want to grab this little doohickey right here. This you want to make sure you attach correctly because as you can see, you can technically align it either way. So you want to make sure you're aligning it properly. So what you want to do is look at it. It's going to be hard to see on my camera probably because it's just kind of engraved in there, but it says the word front up here, or at least I think it says front, kind of hard to tell what it says. So you want to align it so that the front word is facing the front tag. Another way for those of you who, again, might be struggling to tell if it says front on one end or another is align it so that this piece right here, this kind of bulging piece, is closer to the front and the lever is closer to the back, all right? And you wanna just align all of those 4 holes. As you can see, we've got one right there, one up here, one down here, and one down here. And then you're gonna wanna come over here and you need to get the M8s, which are these 4. There's only 4 of them, so that will be easy to recognize. It'll be the bottom right of your package. Unfortunately, it's probably a little hard to see what it says right there. Hopefully you're able to kind of see that, but anyways. So yeah, let's get back over here. Grab these 4. make sure you grab the wrench as well. And you're just gonna tighten all 4 into this. And something I would recommend doing, because you don't wanna accidentally break any of the stitching or anything, so on the floor of course, and just kind of lightly put these in with your hand so that they're all 4 aligned properly. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And I would probably honestly, you know, screw them in with my hand completely, make sure they're kind of evenly aligned as you do so. This is gonna take longer, but trust me, personally, I think it's worth doing it like this. And we're getting to the point where there's resistance now, so you are gonna need to use the wrench soon. And this is the point at which you would wanna use the wrench. And again, just kind of do each one evenly. Don't do one all the way and then another one all the way. Do them kind of like partially way to where you start feeling like a decent amount of resistance. And then switch it over to the next one. Because the thing is if you tighten one all the way, it might move the entire piece off center, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm just gonna keep doing this one. And you can even hear it kind of rubbing up against the metal a little bit. It made a kind of like a creaking sound. So that's how you know you're going pretty far in, and you wanna maybe try doing the other ones first. All right, so at this point, they're all about even, and I would tighten them all the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause and do that because you don't really need to see me do that right now. Okay, so I finished tightening all of the screws. Again, make sure that this is what yours looks like before moving on, because once you assemble it to the base and everything, it's just gonna be a pain to undo anything that might have been done wrong. So yeah, really quickly, just make sure everything is correct. And in fact, I'm gonna show you another way just to be sure that you've done it correctly. So right now we have this as the front, right? And you're gonna see the armholes on the side. So the armhole that's closest to like an edge, you know, like one end or the other. So you're gonna see this hole is closer to the back side. It's not by much, but that might be another clue to help you if needed. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. So first I'm gonna move this to the side a little bit. We're gonna pull over our base that we finished building. And we're pretty much just gonna put this on top of this hole. And I'm gonna really quickly pause and reposition. All right, so I've gone ahead and repositioned my camera so you have a better kind of look at where we're gonna be putting it on. And right here, this is the hole that we're gonna put it on. Let me try to point out. We're gonna put it right there. So just slide it in. All right, hopefully you were able to see that okay. And you're just gonna push it firmly down. So you see I didn't get it all the way, so now I'm gonna do it again. And honestly, at this point, you could honestly just sit on it and make sure that it gets down all the way. Okay, so I got it on. If you did struggle a little bit to get it on, something that may or may not help, I don't know if it actually makes a difference. I personally just tried it and it seemed to help me, is by making sure this is all the way in. So I pushed it all the way, then see if I can re-angle this. I went ahead and pushed it all the way in and then put the seat on. And then it seemed to stick without even needing much pressure. But yeah, hopefully that was at least helpful getting on the seat. We're pretty much done with this. You know, we only got a couple more steps left. We're honestly more than halfway done. So only 2 steps left according to this instruction, but you know, there's a lot of nuts and bolts involved. So let's move on. All right, so time for assembling the arms. So I went ahead and grabbed both the arms. I have them up here. We're gonna need, obviously, the base as well. We're gonna need all of these screws as well. Well, not all, but to start off, we're gonna need 4 of these. So I'll go ahead and set 4 off to the side. Oh. Now, they're rolling all over the place. But anyways, we're gonna need 4 of these. You're gonna need the wrench and some things to keep in mind while doing this, and this is the last way I can help you figure out which way is the front and back of this cushion, but the back side is gonna have this mesh. The front side will not. Let me go ahead and show you the front. Front will be red just like the sides are. As you can see right here, it's red. So you wanna, if you wanna follow along with me, put the red facing towards your left, have the mesh facing towards the right. Grab the left arm piece. The way you know this is the left is because it has a big L sticker inside. So we're gonna be assembling the left side. And again, red on front, mesh on back, align these holes, and obviously another way you can tell that you're aligning this correctly is this gap that's right here should be facing towards the front. This piece should be facing towards the back. You're gonna screw in these two holes. Obviously, I'm gonna have to sit down for this probably. So let me go ahead and pause, screw them in, and then I'll show you what it looks like right after. Okay, so I haven't actually screwed them in all the way yet, and that's just so I could show you kind of how it looks with the two screws in. Keep in mind, again, I haven't screwed them in yet. I only did by hand so far, but keep in mind, and even the instructions say this, only do it about 75% of the way. And this is because you're gonna have to screw in two other ones a little bit later on, one down here and one a little bit higher up. Let me see if I can scroll up for that. And then one up here. So since you're gonna have to do more, you don't wanna tighten these so much to where they're not aligning correctly later on. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and start aligning these and screwing them in about 75% of the way. All right, so I just finished attaching both arms onto the bottom side at least. So let me go ahead and flip this over. As you can see, both of these, again, 75%. If you're doing it and you're wondering, oh, what's about 75%? I would say just do it up until you can't do it without adding some force. So like what I do is I really lightly just turn it until I reach a point where I actually have to like kind of use my fingers and everything to really press it in. Once it reaches that point, I just wait because again, you may need to loosen them a little bit or something. You're gonna come back and tighten them a little bit later if needed to, so don't worry about that for now. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into the next step. At this point, we only have a few things left that we need to get. So one of those things is gonna be the top piece, and you're gonna wanna lay this flat, and that's one of the reasons they said to do it about 75% because you're gonna need to place it in between these. And even right now, it looks like I'm gonna need to loosen a little bit because I might have done a little too tight even. But yeah, so I would start off by getting the top piece, make sure you place it correctly. So the way you know is, again, this is the back because we have this mesh, and at this point you should be able to tell because of the armrests how we put them on as well. So you wanna make sure you put the back portion of the backrest correctly as well and put the head facing towards the head. And I'm going to go ahead and loosen these sides a little bit. And then what you're gonna wanna do, and of course I will show this a little bit later, is you're gonna wanna tighten in one of the holes, okay? So I don't think it's this one. I'm gonna have to see once, I loosen this and kind of fit in. But pretty much what you're gonna be doing is you're tightening in one on each side. So you're gonna leave it laying flat like this, all right? You're gonna leave it laying flat like this. You're gonna tighten the bottommost holes, and then you're gonna do that on both sides, and then you're gonna lift the head up and tighten the top holes. Again, I will show this. I'm just going to explain it real quick so that way you have an idea of what's going on here. So yeah, let me go ahead and first loosen these up and position the back rest correctly. So I've already loosened it, and I'm actually going to show you something I realized as I was doing this is you see now it's kind of at like an angle and it's just staying like that. And the reason is because I loosened both sides and then pushed this piece in here. So like where this hole is down here, it's gonna be a little hard to see from this angle probably, but there's a hole underneath here, which I'll have to adjust for in a bit and show you. But pretty much you're aligning those and it's sticking out a little bit. So let me see if I can just pop this back out of place. So if you see right there, I popped out of place, and when you push it back into place, there's a little hole there, it fits in really well. So you don't want these armrests to be too loose, but you don't want them to be too tight. You don't want them to be too tight because you want to be able to get them in. You don't want them to be too loose because you want them to hold the backrest in place. And you can do that on both sides, of course. And now it should be pretty simple to actually get this to screw in. I'm gonna go ahead and screw only the bottom ones like I mentioned before. And let me see if I can get a somewhat better angle. In fact, I'm just gonna take my camera out from here. I'm just gonna show you because it's gonna be hard to get a good angle. But there's a hole right there, as you should be able to see now. And we're just gonna screw that in on both sides. Again, only about 75% of the way, because what we're gonna have to do once we screw that in is we're gonna lift this straight up and screw in these final ones. So let me go ahead and screw in those bottom pieces to start, and we'll get back into this. All right, quick note I want to make. As I'm screwing this in, I notice it is pretty hard to do. What, at least for me, that's a little helpful is pushing down a little bit and then screwing it, and then it screws really easily versus if I just try to do it like this, it's too much of a resistance. Of course, you can use the wrench to do this too, but I like to use my hands first to make sure it's going in easily. So I'm just pushing down lightly on the back and screwing it in. Same with this side, and I already got that one in most of the way, but hopefully that'll help if you're currently doing this step. All right, so I went ahead and screwed these in only a little bit, again, about 75, maybe even less, honestly, kind of hard to tell. But yeah, I screwed them in a decent amount, and now you're gonna notice that when I lift this, it should be able to turn very easily, but you wanna make sure you don't let it fall too much. I mean, yeah, the bottom of the seat is gonna keep it from like going completely back, but you wanna still brace it just to be safe. You don't want anything to break. And then at this point, it's gonna be a little bit tricky because, see, it's gonna be a little tricky doing it as one person because you're gonna have to kind of push this piece a little bit closer to it perhaps and align it and then screw it in one side at a time. So yeah, if you have someone else, I'd suggest asking them for help, but you don't really need to. Again, you know, you can do this by yourself, but if you have someone else, it doesn't hurt to ask. So let me go ahead and screw one side in real quick and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I went ahead and did a little bit of one side. You might be able to see the screw still sticking out quite a bit, and that's because I only did it enough to where it's secured, so that way I can make sure I align this side correctly, because this side was actually not really aligning nearly as well as the other side. But yeah, this side also, just to keep in mind, remember how I showed you earlier down here when we were putting this one, when we were aligning it, it kind of was jutting out, so that way it would fit into the hole and you'd be able to screw it in. This side is, or the top side is also similar. It doesn't jut out nearly as much, but it does a little bit, so it should make it a little easier to kind of place it into the hole, make sure you're aligning it correctly, and then screwing it in. Again, I would recommend doing a little bit by hand before using the wrench, but that's just my opinion. You know, if you think it's better to go straight to the wrench, by all means do that. But yeah, let me go ahead and do this side as well. All right, so at this point, it looks like it's done, but again, we need to go back and screw in all of those nails in all the way. Again, they're all about 75%, maybe a little bit less. So you wanna make sure you do all of those, and then we're gonna add the cap. So let's start off by tightening all of the side screws on both arms. And yeah, let's get into that now. All right, so we finished tightening up all of these screws, again, on both sides. So down on these. Now what we're gonna wanna do is grab our caps. So make sure you don't drop any of them or lose any of them. Personally, I'm gonna keep them up on the seat as I do it. And you're just gonna wanna press them in. They fit really well. You don't need to put a lot of pressure on it. You just pretty much pop them into place. Oh, let me go ahead and get this one in. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this with my opposite hand, so it's making it a little harder, but you get the idea. You're just popping them in to pretty much hide all of these not so nice looking screws. So that way it looks a lot nicer. So let me go ahead and get one more in. Again, not a lot of pressure needed. If it's not going in pretty easily, you're probably not doing it correctly. So, yep. And then the four on the other side, let me go ahead and do those real quick. Two left to go. See, like some of these I'm struggling on a little bit because I'm trying to put too much pressure when I shouldn't be. And last one up here, because you don't want to make them look weird by like putting them in strange. But yeah, that is the end of that. Go ahead and take a nice look at what you have made here. Look at this beauty. So let me go ahead and take a quick look at my timer to see about how long it took us to complete this. About 53 minutes and 41 seconds. That's not too bad, honestly. I've taken a lot longer before to make gaming chairs. This one was actually one of the quicker ones to make. It was one of the easier ones to make as well. I feel like the assembly for this was actually pretty simple. The instructions were really well laid out. And honestly, I hope this video helps you out. Again, this wasn't hard to make at all, but for those of you who may struggle a little bit, hopefully my video does help. A couple quick things before we end this video though, is if you haven't bought this gaming chair, make sure to check the description below for a link as well as a discount code. And second, I'm gonna be making a review for this gaming chair, so if you wanna see what I think of it before purchasing, again, link in the description below. Third, make sure you keep this wrench, because in case you ever need to tighten anything, loosen anything, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you have this, as well as make sure you vacuum, because there were some kind of like metal flakes that come off as you're tightening everything. So I would recommend just vacuuming one time through. And I swear this is the last thing. Maybe get a cloth, dampen it a little bit perhaps, and just kind of wipe it off. You know, it's not dirty or anything, but it doesn't hurt to do that, especially if you got some of those metal shavings on there, or maybe kicked up some dust that you have in your room, that kind of stuff. Just wipe it off real quick. It'll make it look so much nicer. I'm about to go do that myself. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was helpful. If it did help you, I'd love it if you could like and subscribe. It really means a lot. Peace out.